Hemp companies and entrepreneurs around the world are struggling to live an eco friendly lifestyle and make a huge difference in the world. And at hempaware.com, we provide strategic marketing, branding, and design so they can transform the world with their hemp products or services and experience the growth, success, and fulfillment they deserve. I believe hemp is paving the way for a healthy, wealthy, happy future. And hemp is the essential solution to the world's biggest problems, which is what we're going to get into today. So let's look at the current state of the world and where we're heading with hemp. But first, do I have your permission to get a little philosophical with you? Awesome, then let's keep moving forward. So the current state of the world, we're experiencing deforestation, frankenstein and herbicide, pesticide filled foods, poisonous toxic drugs and toxic polluted oceans, toxic oil drilling, toxic waterways and drinking water, and toxic refinement, all leading to toxic building syndrome. We're living in homes that are not supporting health and wellness. And so I feel, and I think like many of you, sometimes guilty, sometimes hopeless, and sometimes just angry about the situation. I mean, think about it. Do you ever wish that maybe you didn't have to use a tree-based paper towel in your kitchen or put gasoline into your car knowing that we're going to war for some of these resources or destroying our ecology? And if we don't do something different, we're not going to have a world to enjoy and leave to our posterity, our children. We will all become sicker and more depressed and eventually become extinct. And obviously, we don't want that. We want to live where we have healthy forests and natural symbiotic systems that are working together and utilizing the natural herbs and remedies for our ailments and conditions, and ultimately living in thriving oceans and having clean beaches to experience, all by using sustainable renewable plant oils, hemp seed oil, and other biomass that can generate biofuels and bioenergy. I mean, clean drinking water and river water is essential to life and all of our ecology. And we all deserve to live in healthy, wholesome homes. And so I believe that hemp is our vehicle for creating this experience. But first, I want to ask you 3 questions. Who are you? Where are you? And why are you here? And this is what I meant by getting a little philosophical. So, who are you? I believe we are spiritual, electro-biochemical, unlimited beings capable of achieving anything we set our hearts and minds upon. We're literally living in a system. With our thoughts, word, and deed, we can create what we want to experience. And so now I want to ask, where are you? Well, I assert that you are home. And let's ask, what is home? What do you think home is? Well, I see it first as we're in our galaxy and in our universe. And beyond that, we live in our bodies. Our soul kind of animates and resides within our bodies. So you could call our bodies our home. But also the 4 walls that you live within could be, your dwelling place, also referred to as your home. And then, of course, when you're talking about going to your homeland, back to your own nation, we refer to this as our home. And of course, you all know the expression, home is where the heart is. And in fact, at Bulk Hemp Warehouse, one of our companies, we say home is where the hemp is, to make the point. And so the word home comes from the Greek word ekos, looks like oikos, but it's pronounced ekos, which ultimately becomes the word eco. And that's where we get words like ecology, ecosphere, economy, ecosystem, and that's why we study in school home economics. It's all about the management of the numbers in our home or the resources in our home. And so that's where I believe we are. Now, why are you here? And I feel this is important to ask because life is a blank canvas and it's up to you to decide the art you want to make. You can always change your mind, whatever it is you want to create or do in life. And so if this is where we are, living with deforestation and polluting our waterways and soil and living in toxic buildings, then there's one thing that's needed, and that's a change in our attitude and in our actions. We've all opened up to the idea of hemp as a solution. Now it's in the mainstream media, it's in grocery stores around the country. People are open to hemp. But as quoted here by the European Industrial Hemp Association, the change of mindset now needs to be translated into concrete proposals and eventually in decisive actions, because only a drastic paradigm shift will enable us to deviate from this dangerous trajectory. So, with that said, this is where we can be, and hemp is our vehicle for creating healthy forests and symbiotic systems of soil and healthy oceans, and ultimately having clean drinking water and experiencing energy and bioenergy that's in harmony with nature. So, now that we know where we are and why we're here and who we are, the next thing I want to acknowledge is that I too felt angry and frustrated more than 18 years ago when I saw the deforestation. I saw the wars going, after natural resources, and seeing our waterways and animals going extinct, and it really frustrated me. I saw the pollution and the sickness and disease, and I realized that I could do something about it. I really wanted to make a difference, make a change in the world. Have you ever had that feeling like you could do something to make a difference? Well, here's the story of a entrepreneur. Do you remember an experience in your life that completely changed your perception of who you thought you were? Or from that day on, you saw the world differently? Maybe you started asking deeper questions, or started wondering what your purpose on earth was. And maybe that experience followed you right up to this moment, like it has for me. See, I started asking, who am I? Why am I here? And how can I create peace on earth? And I thought immediately, music is harmony, so why not create peace through music? And so I started working with my friends, and we were almost like a Crosby, Stills and Nash 3-part harmony acoustic sound. We just wanted to create peace, and we quickly realized that if we're going to make a difference, we also have to know how to make a dollar. And organizing shows and putting flyers together was one aspect of the business. So I started studying sales, marketing, branding, graphic design, web design, and I started studying some of the greats like Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, Zig Ziglar, and Frank Kern, Tony Robbins, Dale Carnegie, Brian Tracy. And I started studying spiritual ways of life, yoga and Christianity and Hinduism and Buddhism and Sikhism. And I started studying all the philosophies of life and asking, how can I make the most transformation while I'm here on earth? What would be that vehicle for creating an enlightened state of being for the majority of the people on the planet? And one day, my grandmother brought home some hemp protein powder from the health food store. And that's when it occurred to me that this one material, this one seed, could provide food, shelter, and clothing. And I dove into the books, learning about hemp history and hemp uses. And here you can see the Bible of the hemp industry, The Emperor Wears No Clothes by Jack Harrer, co-authored by Chris Conrad, who also authored Hemp Lifeline to the Future. And so I dove into these books and saw all the uses and all the potential that it had to solve so many of the problems on the planet that are providing our 3 basic fundamental needs of food, shelter, and clothing. And so I packed my hemp bags. I went to France and England and Germany and Spain and Netherlands and got to build with hemp in France, and really understood, what my vision was for hemp. And I wanted to empower and hemp-educate as many people as possible and be a hemp-entrepreneur and travel the world and raising awareness about hemp and meeting people. And then I returned to the States and gathered all my experience, and I was reminded one day of something that you might remember. If you're older than 35 or 40, you probably remember what this is. And if you guessed it, yep, it's Tupperware parties, where people would get together and kind of have a party and be sold on this Tupperware for holding your food and storing it in the fridge. And so I translated that into hempaware parties and started working with organizations like Vote Hemp and Hemp History Week and the Hemp Industries Association, and we would demonstrate all the uses and benefits of hemp at different shows. And in fact, Hemp History Week is in June every year, so check out hemphistoryweek.com to learn more. But this is one of my dearest friends who has now passed away, who helped me connect musically with Africa. And Bigira Kiro Kiro is this man's name, just an inspiration. And we all have these people in our lives. This was another mentor helping teach me about how to carry a message of peace to the world. And students work toward community through hemp. He was at our college, and we just wanted to raise awareness and connect with as many people and inspire them to utilize hemp in their daily lives. And we did this through the examples. Like, this was David Pillar, a booth that was at an event where we demonstrate all the examples of what you can do with hemp. And so, what is the point? Well, this is the point. But really, it's a dot. But that's the point. The dot is the point. And so the point I'm trying to make is, do one thing hemp and make your dot on the map. No matter who you are, make your hemp dot. Maybe you're a musician, maybe you're an actor, maybe you're a caretaker, maybe you're a businessman, entrepreneur, or maybe you own a health food store. No matter what it is that you do, you can do one thing with hemp in your life, and I believe this will create the paradigm shift on the planet that we all deserve to experience. And so that's the point, to make your hemp dot. If you're to take one thing away from this presentation, we can help you make your dot, whether it's through our bulk hemp warehouse and bringing hemp home through food, fabric, fiber, seeds to make your difference. At Bulk Hemp Warehouse, we provide top quality bulk hemp seeds and fiber products so families and companies can create exceptional products they believe in and live a more sustainable life. Maybe you own a hemp company already and you need help with marketing and branding. Well, if you have a hemp product that you know transforms lives that you truly believe in, but you're not sure how to share it with the world, well, if you do have a hemp company and you need help making sales, fine-tuning your website, or getting seen with masterful branding with our graphic and web design services, then feel free to reach out to us on hempaware.com. So with all of that said, what is hemp truly? Well, my plan for the rest of this presentation is 1, to help you understand what hemp is, 2, why hemp is so sustainable, and 3, how you can make your dot with hemp. So without further ado, let's really understand what hemp is. So when we're talking to others, we can understand the whole anatomy and benefits of what it's about. So the word phytotomy or phytotomy is the botany of the hemp plant or any plant. And so first we start with the characteristics of the hemp seed. And hemp seeds' characteristics are that they're fairly hard outer shell, they're greenish brown with a vein-like pattern, they're rich in protein and oils, almost 30% protein by weight, containing omega fatty acids 3, 6, and 9. They're slightly larger than a sesame seed and a little smaller than maybe a sunflower seed, about half the size of a sunflower seed, or maybe the size of a coriander seed, if you're familiar with those. Now, as far as the roots, the characteristics of hemp roots are that they're light tan brown, they have a taproot of about 1 to 2 feet into the soil, they are known to have analgesic or pain-relieving properties, and then once the roots mature and grow up, they become the stalks. And the stalks are made up of 2 types of fibers, the bast outer fiber, which is long and stringy, and then the inner core fiber known as hurd, which is more like wood chips. And so the stalks have a light tannish brown, and they can grow up to 20 feet or more. In fact, this is a plant that was grown in California and entered into the Guinness Book of World Records as the tallest hemp plant, I think reaching 22 or 23 feet. And so the characteristics of the stalks are that it's mainly cellulose, some hemicellulose, lignins, which is kind of like the glue, and pectins, like the fats and waxes and things like that that make up the stalks. And then as the stalks grow out and branch out, they become the leaves. And the characteristics of the leaves are that they're dark, rich, Tekeli green, very chlorophyll rich. It's made up of cellulose, water, and other nutrients like chlorophyll, minerals, magnesium, and silica, other enzymes, and phytonutrients. There's minute amounts of terpenes and cannabinoids in the leaves, but very, very minimal. That would mainly be in the flowers. And so the flowers branch out as the plant matures, and the characteristics of the flowers are that they often become very colorful with reds, purples, yellows, oranges, and more. Many different colors. And this is where the cannabinoids and terpenes mature and develop, the sticky resinous compounds that have effects on the nervous system. And the flowers ultimately produce the seeds. This is where they mature. And so there's two types of plants. There's dioecious and monoecious. And so dioecious cannabis varieties have both male and female. And so the males release the pollen to fertilize the female plants. And on the left here, we've got the male sort of packets or pockets or pistillets of hemp pollen, which will land on the female plant in the middle here and ultimately impregnating the female plant. And these are the seeds on the right-hand side, the resulting seeds that grow and mature inside the flowers. This is why cannabis growers, medical or recreational, don't want seeds, because as soon as the seeds start maturing, the cannabinoids will be decreased, and a lot of the energy goes into the seed production. So, hemp history and hemp herstory. This plant has been around as long as written history, essentially. And so, to dive very deep and wide, a very long time ago, a group of stars were formed, and this star system was called Sirius, and is also known colloquially as the two-dog star by the Dogon tribe in Africa. And it's the brightest binary star in the night sky. And more than 4,000 years ago, cannabis was written about in the Chinese medical book. And under the Emperor Shen Nang, cannabis was listed in his pharmacopoeia of medicine for treating malaria, rheumatism, and gout, among other things. In fact, the Chinese culture throughout history has referred to the nation as the land of mulberry and hemp, or Da Ma, Great Mother. And the iconic Egyptian god Anubis was depicted having a dog's or canine head. Not to mention, Anubis sounds or looks very similar to Anubis or cannabis. And glowing profoundly in its constellation, Canis Major or Big Dog. So the two-star plant is from the two-star system Sirius in Canis Major. So there's a lot of connections and alignments there. And also, Sachat is known to have brought mathematics, measurement, education, and cannabis. And maybe that's why there was a 7-pointed star on her crown. And then up into 450 BC, Herodotus records that the Scythians are making fine linens from hemp. At this time, it's believed that he was writing about the Scythians living near Persia. And a cave painting dating 300 BC found in coastal Kyushu, Japan, depicts tall stalks and what clearly seem to be hemp leaves. And then we have fragments of paper containing hemp fiber have been found in Chinese graves dating as early as the 1st century or 100 AD. And then we go up into 600 AD. Hemp fiber is popular and used widely by Germans, Franks, and even the Vikings. It's said they made hemp beer and used hemp rope for their sailboats. And then in Virginia, we bump up into the 1st century, 2nd century, 1619. Virginia makes hemp cultivation mandatory. In fact, you could pay your taxes with hemp. And it was used as a currency throughout the American colonies up into 1630 AD. And then we get to the Declaration of Independence, which was drafted on hemp paper. in 1776. And then up into the early 1900s, cannabis was used in the pharmacopoeia, the medical textbooks for all doctors and medical professionals in 1920. An old hemp seed drug pharmacy medicine bottle was found here, dating from 1927 around. And then you can see here extract bottles of cannabis. So it was regularly used in our pharmacopoeia until it was demonized with the onslaught of the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937. This is what essentially made cannabis illegal. However, shortly after, in the 1940s, you'll see a video here, Hemp for Victory by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And you'll be able to watch it on YouTube. But this is just the very beginning segment showing you that even the U.S. government was in support of growing hemp. Until one day, the petrochemical, pharmaceutical, and lumber conglomerates joined together to form the demonization campaign known as Reefer Madness. You may remember this if you're in your 50s or 60s or older, this campaign to demonize, saying that weed has roots in hell, and just completely demonizing it. And if you really want to dive deep into the history of hemp, please read The Emperor Wears No Clothes by Jack Herer, and you'll have a full understanding of why this plant was made illegal. Now, as far as the laws, we can look back from 1943 to 2018, hemp cannabis was illegal, and it was classified as a Schedule I drug. And then, during all that time of demonization, finally one day it was made legal and declassified from the Industrial Hemp Controlled, and it was no longer a part of the Controlled Substances Act. So now the legal definition of hemp is that it can be defined under the 2018 Farm Bill to include any cannabis plant or derivative thereof that contains no more than 0.3% delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol on a dry weight basis. So any industrial hemp will never get you high. And this made it legal in all 50 states, giving the responsibility to each state to enact their own industrial hemp growth regulations and licensing. So if a farmer wanted to grow hemp, he or she would need to apply for an industrial hemp farming license with the Department of Agriculture in his or her county. And here are some of the countries that are to this day still growing hemp legally, from Canada to Hungary, Portugal, and now thankfully the United States. So that's a little bit of the laws. As far as the uses for hemp, we can first look at the seeds, then the fibers, then the flowers. Now, the seeds have three main categories of product: the seeds, protein, and oil. As for the seed products that are typically available, you'll find whole grain hemp seeds, sometimes toasted or roasted, sometimes viable. And then you have the hulled hemp seeds, which are unviable because the shell has been removed, but these are a little more versatile. You can use them in milks and ice creams and smoothies and dips and dressings and all sorts of things, whereas the whole hemp seeds are a little more fibrous because that shell, but you can grind them up and put them in smoothies or on granola and things of that nature. And then you've got the hemp protein powder. And if you see here in the middle, you put the whole hemp seeds into the press. Out one side of the machine you get the oil, and then the cake comes out the other. That cake is then milled into what's referred to as hemp flour, and that flour can be milled into a protein. It's very high in amino acids, great source of protein. And then the hemp seed oil, there's two applications: industrial for like varnishes, sealers, stainers, and then there's the food products, which are made for ingestion and topical applications like lotions and things like that. And then as far as the fiber, you get the stalks, and the stalks produce bast fiber products and hurd fiber products. The bast fiber is the long, stringy, hair-like fiber, and you can produce both woven as well as non-woven products. And some of the woven products are hemp yarn, hemp twine, hemp rope, hemp fabrics. Some of the non-woven bast fiber products you'll find are just raw fiber used in plaster and building projects. And then you've got the hemp batting and insulation and construction, and then composites and plastics mixed with different binders and polymers. And then you can also make paper products with the bast fibers. As far as the hurd fiber, this is more of the woody chipped fiber that is used in animal bedding and agricultural applications, as well as building materials and composites and paper products this fiber can be used for. So as for the flowers, you've got cured and trimmed hemp buds, which is the most common known flower product. And then you've got liquid extracts, where you take those flowers and kind of cook them down or break them down into constituent products. And those can be extracted further into isolates or different types of products that can be consumed. And so those are the main uses for hemp. Now, let's talk about the benefits of the seed, the fiber, and the flowers. So the hemp seed benefits are that they're a rich source of protein. They've got all 10 essential amino acids, some say even more essential amino acids. And they're high in omega fatty acids, 3, 6, and 9, as we mentioned. They're a great source of soluble and insoluble fiber. And then the fibers themselves, the bast fiber is a really great tensile strength product, very high tensile strength, making it more durable and lasting longer than other natural fibers. It's also been shown to be antimicrobial, and it's completely sustainable, 100% biodegradable. And then hemp fiber, the inner core is lightweight, it's 100% biodegradable, very absorbent, completely non-toxic, and is an essential supplement to tree-based products. So it will really help us stop cutting down our trees. And then we've got the flower benefits. So it's 100% natural, no known lethal dosages of cannabinoids and terpenes, great alternative to pharmaceuticals, and it's known to be safe for all ages. Depending on how the product is prepared, obviously you need to consult with a professional. But it really helps the bodily systems like the nervous system and the immune system using the flower-based products. And they also tend to smell very good. Now, those are the benefits. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the farming methods for your production. So, depending on what you're wanting to grow for, if it's long fiber, you're going to plant about 50 to 75 seeds per acre and about 6 to 12 inches in rows. And here's some of the historical yields of hemp fibers, and then some of the hemp seed production. If you're producing seeds, you're wanting to plant about 30 to 45 pounds of seed per acre with about 12 to 18 inch rows. And then you can expect yields anywhere from 800 to 3,000 pounds of seed per acre. As far as flower production, it's usually 2,000 plants per acre with a 3-foot center. And you can expect roughly 1,500 pounds per acre within about 100 to 120 days. Obviously, we're just touching the surface here, but this is to give you a glimpse of why hemp is the most sustainable crop on the planet. And as far as hemp sustainability and benefits and how to stop polluting our environment and really make the dots connect here, hemp's environmental and sustainable benefits are that hemp requires about half the amount of water per acre than conventional cotton. Hemp doesn't need toxic herbicides or pesticides to grow. Hemp sequesters CO2, making it a greenhouse gas reducer. And hemp is a great rotational crop, and it helps fixes nutrients into the soil and can be grown in combination with other crops. Hemp is known to have phytoremediation properties, and meaning it literally can clean up our soils. It's highly renewable and recyclable. You can actually recycle hemp paper up to 8 times compared to tree pulp, which is about 4 times. And not only is hemp sensationally sustainable and eco-friendly, it can provide millions of jobs globally for almost every sector in commerce. So it's one of the most sustainable resources on the planet because it provides food, shelter, clothing, and jobs. It's one of the most amazing crops, and that's why you're here today learning more about this. And if you want to make every day Earth Day, use hemp daily. Here's a few examples. How can you use hemp daily? A day in the life of a hempster. So imagine waking up in your hempcrete, sustainable, healthy home. You slide out of your soft, comfy hemp bed, all made up with hemp bedding. You jump into the shower and lather up with Dr. Bronner's hemp soap as you scrub down with your hemp washcloth. You slip into your soft and durable, comfy hemp slippers and robe. Add some nutty, flavorful, protein-rich hemp hearts to your cereal or breakfast smoothie. Get dressed in your custom-tailored hemp outfit. Drive to work in your hemp-fueled hemp plastic car. And then you see someone on the side of the road. So you pull over and you pull out your hemp rope to help tie down the furniture that's getting a little loose with your rope, and you happen to help someone out for the day. After that, you do a little bit of working in the office and you sit down for a nice hemp pasta for lunch. You head home, spend some time with the family, and when you get home, you walk the dog with your hemp leash and hemp collar. Then you relax and enjoy a wonderful meal. And for dessert, you have yourself some nice hemp ice cream. You wash your hemp plastic dishes and then enjoy a wonderful book about hemp history. And it's printed on hemp paper, of all things. As you get ready for bed, you can give a special thank you, knowing that you're doing your part to make a difference on the planet with hemp. And just to give you an idea of what some of our customers are making some examples with hemp, this year is Carol Scheiber with Carol Scheiber Designs making a beautiful hemp canvas placemat. And then you've got hemp guitar straps. You've got bracelets, and Kanye West here sporting some hemp twine. Now connecting the dots. So, from deforestation to healthier forests, by doing hemp farming, using hemp building materials and paper products, we can help preserve and restore our forests. Poisonous drugs, by using hemp flowers based products like tinctures, capsules, and topicals, we can avoid the harmful pharmaceuticals and use more natural cannabis-based products. As far as toxic oil drilling and refinement, hemp biomass for fuel and energy products, and fibers for plastics, and seed for oil-based products will have more sustainable, renewable biofuels and bioenergy and building materials. As far as our Frankenstein and herbicide pesticide-filled foods, using organic biodynamic farming practices, we can restore our topsoil, knowing that hemp doesn't need any of these toxic compounds. As far as our beaches, we can use hemp to clean up our soils and other pollutants in our environment. Hemp plants can be phytoremediators, and we can use hemp plastic to prevent more toxic plastics going into our oceans. As far as our waterways, growing hemp is a natural, organic way to live in harmony with our environment and not pollute our waterways, ultimately cleaning up our rivers and drinking water. And then using hempcrete and hemp wood products can provide a safer, healthier home for our families. Ultimately, living in healthy, wholesome homes is our goal with hemp. So, I am hemp aware, and I hope that you are hemp aware. So give us a call if you have any questions, or visit hempaware.com to schedule a discovery call today to see how you can integrate hemp into your lifestyle. We appreciate your attention and look forward to empowering and hemp-educating your hemposphere. Make it hempin'. Make it hempin'.